Hey guys, welcome back to more political chatter. Today we'll be talking about the 2026 midterm elections once again, and boy, do we have some crazy new polling data. And we'll talk about what it means for 2026. It's actually more good news for the Democratic Party, at least what we're seeing right now. So, YouGov came out with a new poll, released a few days, or it was conducted 5 days ago, but released just today, that shows Democrats at a 4 point lead in the generic ballot in 2026. So, this generic ballot polling means who are you voting for in 2026 midterms in the House, in the Senate, whatever. The Democrat or the Republican candidate. Democrats have a 4 point lead there, 44% to 40%. That's not shocking in and of itself. But what's more, really incredible is this trend that we continue to see. So YouGov, what you're seeing here is the YouGov generic ballot poll all the way from 2017. They started tracking this polling in 2017 all throughout the 2020 elections, the 2022 elections, and now into the 2026 elections. And what you'll notice is that in mid-August, Democrats, look at that lead, had a 5.3% lead in the generic ballot. 5.3%. This, continuing with that trend, right next to 5.3 within the margin of error, this might as well be 5.3. And it continues with this trend that we're seeing where Democrats have a continuing widening lead in the 2026 midterms. Now, look at that margin. 5.3%, 43.7 on average to 38.4% in the YouGov polls. Keep that number in mind, 5.3%, because when you look at the 2017 or where we were in 2017, September, Democrats were at a 7 point lead, just 2 points away from where they are now. What do we know? 2018 was a massive blue wave for the Democratic Party. This was the trend this was the trend from the 2016 House races to the 2018 House races. It was a massive blue wave nationwide. Democrats, trended, almost all, basically every congressional race trended towards the Democratic Party, all but just a handful. And point being, it was a blue wave for the Democratic Party. And now what we're looking at now is Democrats are just 2 points off from this. Could you imagine if a trend like this happened in 2026? It would be a blowout for the Democratic Party. And keep in mind, the if I could just get to past elections here. In 2016, Republicans had a huge majority in the U.S. House of Representatives, 241 seats to 194 seats for the Democratic Party. What I mean is, this trend put them where? This giant trend towards the left put them at 235 to 200. Now, Democrats right now are already at 215. In 2016, they were at 194. In 2025, they're at 215. Point being, to get, such a blue wave like in 2018, Democrats don't even need as much of a massive left trend towards the left like they did in 2018. They could have this just sized down a little bit, and it'll still equate to a similar result or more in the House of Representatives. They could get even more seats than they did in 2018 when they won 235 seats. All they need to do to get to 235 right now is flip 20 seats. They're already at 215. They only need to flip 20. In 2016, to get to 235, they had to flip 41 seats. They had to flip 41 seats. So, of course, when you're flipping 41 seats, you're going to see a trend map like this. So, I mean, it was obviously a great year for the Democratic Party. And the way things are going right now, it looks like Democrats are once again going to come out with the same results as they did under the first Trump midterm, as they did in 2018. When you look at these congressional margins, I mean, look at in June of 2017 in the first Trump term, Democrats had a lead at one point of 4%, 38.9 to 34.7, 4.2%. Democrats, yes, it's September now, but Democrats are exceeding that number and they're almost at where Democrats were in September of 2017. What do we know? 2018 would go on to be a massive blue wave year for the Democratic Party. So, all indications, including special elections as well, which is even more interesting, all indications are pointing at a huge blue wave come 2026. And it even goes deeper than that. In the same YouGov poll that we just talked about, that has Democrats at a 4 point lead, look at the key demographics. Hispanics, which trended hard towards the right, towards the Republican Party in 2024, are now strongly back in the Democratic column after, obviously, I'm sure the Trump's immigration policy, the Republicans' immigration policy, is obviously having an effect on this. But look at generic ballot polling among Hispanics. Democrats at an 18 point lead, 49% to 31%. Absolutely gigantic. Even worse for the Republicans is among independent voters. Independents, a traditionally low propensity of voter block, meaning they turn out less than the electorate at large, but still, it doesn't even matter when you look at that margin. 44% for the Democrats, 24% for the Republicans, 24% unsure. If you're still unsure, right now probably means a good chunk of them will not even turn out in November. But look at that, a 20 point lead among independent voters for the Democratic Party in the midterm elections. Very reminiscent of what we saw in 2018, right? The 2018 House elections saw a strong Hispanic turnout. I mean, just look at these Texas districts, right? Henry Cuellar. The Republicans didn't even put up someone to run against Henry Cuellar. Okay, he won by 68 points over the Libertarian. Look at Vicente Gonzalez in Texas's 15th, and then who was this? Vela. Filemon Vela Jr., he's out of office now, but he won by 20 points in that district. Also, they almost beat Will Hurd in Texas' 23rd. This district is almost identical to what it is now in 2024, and look at that margin in 2024. Gonzalez won by 25%. The Republicans have won the seat by 25%, when in 2018, almost an identical district, Democrats came close, losing by half a percentage point, 0.44%, to Will Hurd when he won by over 1 point in 2016. So, point being, there was massive Democratic turnout in these, obviously predominantly Hispanic states. Look at Arizona as well. Tom O'Halloran won in this deep rural seat by 7 points. That was a huge win for the Democrats there as well. They won 3 out of 4 seats in Nevada. They won all 3 seats in New Mexico, something they wouldn't do until 2022 when Gabe Vasquez came back to win the second district. So there was massive Hispanic turnout, a retaliation against the first Trump immigration policy, which was nothing compared to what we are seeing now in the second Trump term, where the deportations are only more violent, only more publicized, right, with the spread of social media and all that. And there's only been more of a backlash against it. Just look at all the nationwide protests, everything like that. So, this Hispanic turnout will only be, dramatized. Is that a word? I think so. Or dramatized. That might be it. In 2026. It'll only become more apparent that Hispanics are going to turn out in massive numbers. In retaliation against this Trump immigration policy, and then independent voters as well. What we saw in 2018, or what we saw in 2016, we'll start with, is that independent voters were tired of the establishment, tired, with immigration, these high costs of living, these issues that they didn't feel were really represented. Well, look at that. Wow, that was Mike Johnson's first election. I didn't realize how chaotic it is. What was I talking about? Lost my train of thought. What we saw in 2016 was Republicans really turn out for, or sorry, independents turn out for Republicans because they were so tired of the establishment, so tired of Washington not listening to these issues that were extremely important to them. And then we saw in 2018, many of them flip back to the party after the chaos, after the division, all of that. These more moderate independent voters wanted a return to normalcy in 2018. And again, like the immigration policy, Trump 1.0 is really nothing in terms of rhetoric, in terms especially of actual legislation passed, nothing compared to how far right Trump 2.0 is. So that Hispanic turnout, that independent turnout that we saw was strong for the Democrats in 2018, it looks like is only going to be, exaggerated, elevated in 2026. That's how things are going right now, based off of the numbers that we're seeing, based off of the rhetoric, based off the legislation that congressional Republicans and that the White House is getting through. So that's the case for the House. Who knows what will happen in the House? This is my current Senate forecast. Or sorry, no, it's not. I'm sorry. This was uh, Texas, I have lean as James Tallarico is now in the race, but we were looking at the House there, all the same effects in the Senate as well. This is where I have my Senate prediction, and it's only getting closer. Day by day by day, we have margins getting slimmer for the Republicans. Not too long ago, I had Maine tilt Republican, then it was tilt Democrat when it looked like Janet Mills might run. Now, with Graham Plattner leading the race, easily a lean Democratic race. And the thing is, I'm about to put it likely. If you look at my forecast right now, I have Maine at a 4.5% margin. As Graham Plattner gets his name recognition up and it looks like he'll win the Democratic primary, that margin will exceed over 5% to make it a likely state. As we see more info, more polling data from North Carolina, that could become a likely state in the near future. Texas, I just said in my last prediction, was a likely margin. It is now getting closer to a lean margin. If Mary Peltola runs in Alaska, that will probably be reduced to a lean margin. Democrats are expanding their margins. Republicans, their margins are getting slimmer. Day by day by day, the generic ballot goes up for the Democrats. The approval goes down for Donald Trump. Even more, the approval goes down for congressional Republicans and all the legislation that they're passing. Right? Big Beautiful Bill comes to mind. Uh, so, as things change, it's only getting better for the Democrats. And I might add, a lot of the effects of Trump's legislation hasn't even been felt yet, right? Like the big beautiful bill, the hospitals, some have closed as we have seen reporting on, but many more are going to close, right? I don't think the SNAP cuts have gone into effect, or the Medicare or Medicaid cuts. All of that is going to amount to not even, I wouldn't even say Republicans switching to Democrats, but it will all amount to an incredibly, incredibly depressed Republican turnout in the 2026 midterms. Democrats will turn out strong, meanwhile. Low propensity voters will break towards Democrats, as we're seeing with the independent voter numbers. Ultimately, it will amount to a great blue wave in 2026, at least the way things are going right now. I mean, everything, by all indications, Democrats are on track to crush the Republicans in 2026. So thank you all for watching this video. If you all enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe down below. That helps out a lot tremendously. Drop a comment to let me hear what you think about this. Drop a like. That gets this video out through the algorithm better, so more people could see it. All you have to do, drop a like, and then it helps me. So it costs you nothing, obviously, except the energy it takes to click the button. But it helps me a little bit. So if you could do that, that helps, as well as drop a comment. That helps with pushing this video out. I don't think subscribing does, but do that anyway so you could see my future videos. Again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all later.